Welcome back to part 2 of my conversation with Cassandra O'Neal.
That was when, financially things started to change and all of that. And then after that, I did Pink. I was with her for like a year and a half. And then after that, I did Macy Gray, and I was with Macy for like 5 years. And then after that, I was with Mary J for a little bit. And then after that, I got Prince the next year in 2009. And
so tell me about co-ed.
Mm-hmm. So co-ed was when did that happen? That happened in 2000, because I met Sheila in 2004. Okay. It was more like 2003, 2004 was when I met Sheila at the NAMM show. And so the first tour that I had ever did with her was a gospel tour called Sisters in the Spirit. And they wanted an all-female band, but it didn't work out that way. So it was basically Sheila, myself, and Kat Dyson.
Oh, okay.
And that was my first time meeting Kat. So, we did this gospel tour, which was right up my alley because that's what I was doing, and Power Pack Band. Awesome band, awesome lineup. It was Martha Munizzi, Kelly Price, Risen, and what's her name? Juanita Bynum, and one more person. I can't think right now, but I think that was pretty much it. And we did that for like 12 weeks, like 2 months. And Yolanda Adams. I can't forget Yoli. Can't forget Yolanda. Because what happened was Yolanda, everybody had their set, and Yolanda would sing. There was a point in the show where she would sing Just a Prayer Away. And she decided this particular night she didn't want to sing it. She wanted to do something else. So she was like, Cassie, I want to do something else. She was like, you gonna follow me, girl, right? I was like, I got you. And she sang, I Will Trust in the Lord.
Ooh.
I will trust in the Lord. And I'm like, first of all, I don't even remember the last time I even played that song. And then she sang 'Tis So Sweet and knocked everybody's socks off. She shouted off the stage. And so Sheila had a mic that was patched to all of our in-ears. And she's like, Cassie, follow her. And I'm like, that's what I'm doing. That's my job. And so whatever it was that she sang, wherever she went was where I went.
Right.
And the Holy Ghost came down.
But you knew how to do that.
Right. I knew how to do that.
You were playing in church.
Right.
And that's what you do when you're a church musician.
Exactly.
Somebody started singing, y'all find that key and follow.
Exactly. And so it was one of those moments, and we had like the intermission, and I'm standing like we're in like the catering area getting water and stuff, and Sheila comes behind me and she hugs me from behind, and she's like, cousin, I gotta have you in my band. And I was like, oh, wow. I said, oh, of course.
Oh my.
And that was the beginning of that. And so co-ed, so I was playing for Sheila, and co-ed kind of sparked from it because Rhonda was in her band and Kat was in her band. And that was my first time meeting Rhonda. So what happened was Prince had asked her to put together a crew to go to the Montreux Jazz Festival with him.
Okay.
So, but this was after we did the NAACP Awards. I don't know if you've seen that performance with
Oh yeah.
Frank McComb and Morris and all of them.
Yep.
And so basically it was Sheila's band backing him up with some additional people. Matt Brody. It was Matt Brody, Morris Hayes. That was my first time meeting Morris. Myself and one other keyboard player, Phil Davis from Atlanta. And so you got 1, 2, 3, 4 keyboard players plus Frank McComb. That's 5 keyboard players. Killing. Like, I didn't know how this was going to go. I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, little old me, I'm one of these people. And it just, it was.
How did you figure out how to navigate that when you have that many keyboard players? It's like, how do you not like get on top of each other? And how do you figure that out?
Prince pretty much assigned us parts to play. And that's how that, and that's when I really got to see, that was my first time meeting him. And I was so scared. Like, his presence just, he touched my shoulder and I just flinched. And I'm just like, because he just came out of nowhere. And he just, he's so short and so small that he moves so swift. And it was just like, oh my God, what the, and he would say, can I show you something? And I'm like, sure. He's like, I want you to play this. And I'm looking. He's like, you got it? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm playing it. He's like, yeah, that's it. Yeah. And so you just kind of wait for him, but it was so interesting to see how his mind worked. It was like, he would just say, all right, Morris, I want you to play that. Matt, organ, I want you to play this. And you play that. And you play that. And you guys do this. And you do that. And you do that. All right, here we go. 2, 3, 4. And you do it. And it would come together so flawlessly. And I'm just like, how you know? I mean, I knew how he knew once you heard it. But it was just like,
but how do you hear all that?
Right. It's like, well, dang, so, it was such a privilege, and it was like being in band camp, and we were on stage for that performance for 12 minutes, and we rehearsed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for like 8 hours a day to be on stage for 12 minutes. And then we went skating on Thursday. Roller skating. Yeah, we were roller skating at World on Wheels. And I'm just like, who
is this really happening?
Right. I'm like, who goes to a rehearsal dressed to the nines? That was when I was told, he didn't like jeans, so we couldn't wear jeans. And, you pretty much were dressy casual, comfy dressy, because you knew you were going to be moving around because you're rehearsing. That's the kind of attire that you wore. And so, who goes from dressed like this to being, to roller skating in your rehearsal clothes, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of getting it in, having fun. And it was a really cool way to work up the camaraderie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was what was so dope about it. It was, and then Friday we did the camera blocking, and then Saturday we did the show. Saturday night we went to 3121 and had an after party. And that after party lasted until 6 o'clock in the morning. I didn't get home till 6, 8 o'clock in the morning. And I think it was Easter or something, because I did not go to church that day. I didn't go.
Which is a shocker, especially if it was Easter.
Yeah, I didn't go to church that day. I stayed home because I was so tired, because we were at the shrine from like 3 o'clock in the afternoon the day before, doing the show.
Right.
So I was knocked out, and it was just an awesome night. Different people came and sang. Stevie was there. I met Oprah and Morris Day and everybody. And we were all, they had a fondue fountain with chocolate and, and the food was delicious. And it was amazing. I got to meet Herbie Hancock and Joni Mitchell. Like,
Um,
yeah. So back to the situation with Montreux that happened the year after. So we're talking 2006. Prince had asked Sheila to put together a unit to go to Montreux. So we locked ourselves in center staging in a room, and we learned about 4 or 5 songs and put them on a CD, and he liked what he heard. And in proper Prince fashion, you were never told a date. You were just asked if you were available. And of course you're going to be available because it's
of course.
him.
It's Prince.
Right.
What am I going to say?
No, right. Right. So I, of course I said yes, but I realized that the date that the engagement was on was my mother's 70th birthday. And of course, when those type of situations come up, Mom would always tell me, go work. And I'm like, nope, I can't. It's your birthday. It's your 70th birthday, and I need to be with you. She had been in and out of the hospital, and this is a milestone birthday. So,
yeah.
And I just explained it to Sheila, and she understood. She's all about about family. So she understood, and I was heartbroken because I really wanted to go, but I just know I had to go with my gut.
You couldn't, yeah.
And so. Yeah. They understood, she told Prince, he understood, and I think he went a different direction. I think Rhonda ended up going and John Blackwell. After that, we ended up going to Japan as co-ed. And so we were, we were doing the Chronicles of Every Diva, and it was a cool situation at first. And,
what was it? What was the premise of it? Like, what was
Chronicles of Every Diva was the name of the group, and it was we were trying we wanted to be the the female supergroup. You got 4 beautiful sisters in a band that played their butts off. That's what it was supposed to be. That's what the premise was, and I liked the idea. But sometimes these things just don't work out, and and it didn't. So
how many shows did you do?
We did quite a few shows. We went all around. We went to Japan. We went to we had a whole tour going on, and it was really a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Sheila taught me a whole lot. I am very grateful to her and very grateful for having her in my life when I met her. It was definitely divine order in the way that, things went down. And congratulations to her on her star on the Walk of Fame.
Right. Yes.
Go Sheila.
Yes.
Yes. Represent.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm so happy for
awesome.
her. That's great. Yeah, that's awesome. And she, she really, like Prince, was very open about the struggles that she went through when she was, coming up and playing, for Lionel Richie and Santana and those bands, because she was that girl, she was doing sessions and all of that. And here's the thing, it's the same story for all of us. It was just a different time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's always the same story, even for the ones that are out now. They're going through the same stuff that we went through.
Same thing. Yeah.
How did Prince call it? Same page, different book.
Different book.
So, it was great to be able to have her in my life again when she was, because there wasn't really anybody else that I could really talk to or relate to.
That could relate.
Exactly. In regards to that. There were, different people that I held in high regard that I didn't know, like Patrice Rushen. Patrice was my keyboardist. She was the goddess to me. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know her. I hadn't met her
Right.
then. I didn't meet Patrice until 2010. And so, and that was that I'll say is probably the one of the major blessings about doing this job on this level is being able to meet the people that inspired you.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you got people, because people are leaving here, you got
Yeah,
people
they
that
are.
are, we're losing our masters and,
Mm-hmm.
because they're getting older, we're all getting older.
We're all getting older.
And there are people that, unfortunately, that I will never meet. And, I just try to pay homage to them through what I do,
Mm-hmm.
because they're in there somewhere.
Yeah. So when you got the call
That was 2009.
to join his band,
Mm-hmm.
tell me first thoughts and tell me what the prep was like preparing for that first performance.
First thoughts were, oh snap. What? Really? Huh? Like
I'm still on your radar?
Right. And so his one of his assistants called me and was like, yeah, Prince would love for you to come to Paisley Park and and jam, is that possible? I'm like, yeah, it's possible. And so I went and I met, I remember Morris from the NAACP.
NAACP, right.
And so we were supposed to go in the studio that night on Friday when I got there, but somebody got sick. So I didn't go, and I went to Paisley on that Saturday. And I just remember seeing the building for the first time, and I'm like, and so I walk in, and I'm in the sound stage, and I'm like, okay. I'm just like, I didn't want to say anything. I'm just standing there. And then Prince, and then Prince comes walking in his George Jefferson fashion. And, and he hugs me, he gives me a big hug, and he says, so, how long do I have you? I said, how long do you need me? And he said, you have a coat? Because that was when the weather started to turn. Okay. And I said, I have a coat, but I think I may need to get a warmer coat because I know it gets pretty brick out here. So he, kind of showed me around and, gave me a little tour.
First of all, I would have melted when he said, how long do I have you? I just would have melted right there.
Oh, I did.
On the floor, like game over.
Right, I did. I did. When he said that, and again, it's Prince. And so everything is so suave and so smooth, and he's so respectable. And I'm just kind of like, I just didn't know what to expect. You know what I mean? Right. And just thinking about it now, I'm just like, I remember kind of zoning out for 2 seconds, like pinching myself, like, come on, Cassie, keep it together, keep it together, keep it together. Don't be a geeky fan. Don't talk his ear off. Just kind of, just chill out. Mm-hmm. So he introduced me to Morris. Morris was, kind of like, well, all the gear is gone because we're going to Paris in a couple of weeks. So all the gear was being shipped out, but there was still some like leftover gear for us to rehearse with. So basically it was me and Morris rehearsing and, going over songs and going over parts and, and all that. We couldn't really go over sounds because we didn't have the appropriate gear. We had, kind of keyboards just to get us through. And so in 3 weeks, I was whisked off to Paris. And so in the meaning in between, though, I had to get a whole nother wardrobe. And so I went.
That's right, Cali girl.
Right. So I went to Mall of America, which is not your shopping mall. It's a tourist mall. But I was able to put it together.
Yeah.
And I got I spent so much money on clothes, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter. This was work related.
Yeah,
gave me a reason to go shopping. So, so we went to went to Paris, and I had a half of a half of a half of a rehearsal because we rehearsed on that Saturday, but we did the gig on Sunday. And it was overwhelming. Overwhelming. I did not play 1999 or the version of 1999 that the arrangement. That was the key.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that I didn't know songs. It was the arrangements of songs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, it was just kind of like, you really had to keep your ears peeled for how they were playing it. These songs are old. How many different arrangements do you think he's had in however many years he's been playing them? And so, and I remember, watching Sign of the Times. I've seen other concerts, and I would remember those arrangements. So, yeah, so again, it was all about the arrangements and how, how things were put together. And so you had to really keep your ears peeled on how they were playing it. And, I made some mistakes, but they weren't, you couldn't tell, unless you just knew the arrangement, you didn't know what was going on. And so, it was just one of those get in where you fit in type situations. And I played what I knew. I played what I remembered. I played what I heard. I had Morris in my ear, and it was, I remember what we went over, and, that was that. Mm-hmm. And then, once I started coming around to have rehearsal at Paisley, that's when things started to really, really gel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And, and that was like, I always looked at it as like band camp. It was band camp every day. Last summer at band camp. Yeah, it was always that. It was that, and it.
Now, was he still looking at the tape after the concerts and going through them? And okay, yeah, all right.
And that became and see, here's the thing. After we did that Paris trip, my mom passed away. Mom passed away because I got back in probably November and the early part of November. And I called her every day from rehearsal when I got the gig. So she knew what was going on. And she was very proud of me.
I bet she was. My baby's playing for Prince.
Exactly. And the keeping her up, she said, I get it now. I said, you get what? She says, I get what was going on with you. She said, God had it to where you were learning these songs. He was preparing you for what you were getting ready to do. She said, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that until actually I was a Pink concert. She came to see me play with Pink. And she was like, I get it now. You listening to all the, the pop music and stuff. And she said, I really thought something was wrong with you. She said, I really did. I really did because, Suzanne and Tammy, they were listening to the R&B stuff, Luther Vandross and stuff, and you didn't listen to that. And I just didn't get it. And now I do. And I'm so proud. And I'm so happy to see the musician that you've become. She said, you took it further than me. And I say it all the time. I say, I am because my mother was first. So there was a meeting of the minds there after a while when I became, a professional and, started doing this for real. And, we would have conversations about, life and, what it was like for her coming up, playing in the church and the sexism and the double standard, the chauvinism, the all of that. And
same page, different
book. And she prepared me. She prepared me when I started playing in church. She said, they're going to try you. She said, if they tried me with the ability that I had and you play better than me, they're definitely going to try you.
Definitely going to try you. Yeah.
And when she passed, I lost a big hunk of me. We didn't work for a long time. We didn't work for a while, and I'm grieving. And me, I'm one of those people where it doesn't hit me until I'm still. But when I was quiet, when I was, when I would come home late at night,
Mm-hmm.
after working, that was when stuff would really, really get to me.
Right.
So
Right.
I remember us going back to work and rehearsing. And, Prince would, he was very compassionate. And he knew I was going through. He knew.
Mm-hmm.
And, we would sometimes have these conversations amongst the band, these
Mm-hmm.
philosophical, spiritual conversations. And I just remember saying, we were kind of all going around saying something. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just, saying to him, I said, you guys came in my life just in time because, my mom is now gone. My father passed away 10 years prior, and you all are like my family now.
Mm-hmm.
So I thank God for you all. I thank God for putting me in this organization, and I remember him sitting next to me and he was shaking his head and he was like, Amen. I hear that, and we were a family.
Yeah.
We were a
Yeah.
family. All of them, even now, as we're all doing different things, I think about them. I watch them. I go on their pages. Morris has been our artist in residence at Columbia, and that was just an amazing experience. Um,
Yeah.
Having a friend, come and we get to share these moments with other, with the students,
Mm-hmm.
and and they were all, remember I was telling you on the conversation we had last week,
Mm-hmm.
the funny moments, it was just,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and that was what it was. It was probably your most favorite gig for so many reasons. You got to play great music with great people, with
Mm-hmm.
a great front person, and then you got to eat great food. You got to dress up in nice clothes.
Yeah.
You
And then you met all of your people that you
Right,
admired because of the company that you were in,
right,
right?
like Lisa, Elisa. I knew who Elisa was. I remember her performance on Showtime at the Apollo. And so when I met her, I'm like, I remember you. I'm on the way up, but she's like, oh my god. So yeah, 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 yeah. She, it was like, and she kind of looked at me weird when I first met her. I was like, oh my god, you're Lisa Farrell. She's like, yeah, that's me.
Uh-huh.
you know, right? And I remember seeing Shelby with Anthony Hamilton. I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
when they were singing background for D'Angelo,
Mm-hmm.
and so I knew who everybody was. And then Cora and Josh were friends of mine from LA. So when they
Oh,
were in the
okay.
band, it was like, oh wow, I know some,
Mm-hmm.
there's some homies in the band. So I wasn't
Right,
just the
right.
new one, the newbie. And then I had just played for Liv not too
Oh,
far
okay.
before that. So, so it was a whole coming together reunion type thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Yeah, and we ended up
Wow.
being a family. We shared some really cool moments, some fun moments, great moments, some spiritual moments,
Yeah.
emotional moments, um, just musical monumental moments. And people ask me all the time, if you had the chance to do it again, would you do it again? And I say yes, every
Yeah.
time,
Of
every
course.
time.
I wanted to ask you about the 2010 tour,
Okay,
because that was a tour that we didn't get to see because he didn't do it in the
right.
States. Do you know why he didn't do that tour here?
I. It's hard to say. I think that due to Prince's experiences with American audiences, I think that's why he didn't do it.
Hmm.
And
I get
whatever
it.
that means, and that can be that.
Because I've heard that. A lot. I've heard that different ways, and I understand it.
Mm-hmm. And
I totally
and
understand
it's
it.
just, we're fickle over here.
Hmm.
We don't.
We're fickle, but there are certain things that we want, and that's not where he was all the time.
Right.
It's like, I don't want to give you that right
Right.
now. You've had
Right.
that.
I don't want to play Purple. Well, I think he's gonna. First of all, he played Purple Rain every show. Every show. Can you imagine
No.
playing a song for 30 some odd years? Every show, playing that same song. Every show. Like, I don't know if I could have done that. I don't know, but he was such a musician's musician that I know he knew he had to do it out of duty because people wanted it. One,
They want it.
two,
Yeah.
I think the I won't say struggle, but I'll say the biggest hurdle musically with playing a song like that or any of those songs for so long is you get burnt out. I wonder if he ever got burnt out playing Purple Rain. I wonder. It didn't seem like it. If he did, you never knew.
It never seemed like it.
You didn't know. You didn't know.
Now he would shorten it up and give you,
right. He give you snippets of stuff,
and then
right.
and move it along a little bit,
right. But he always sang it.
But he did it.
Right.
Yeah.
He did it every show. He did it, and and just some of the other ones. When Doves Cry and Let's Go Crazy and 1999. These songs are old as dirt. And you won't.
But they still sound.
Yeah, they still sounded fresh. One. Two, he wouldn't sing it the same way every time. Like his ad-libs were all different and stuff. And that was the thing that I loved about his musicianship is that he was able to, just to make it fresh every time. Every time. And that's not easy. Mm-hmm. That's not easy to do. And I admired him for that because I got tired of playing them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I was in there for 7 years. So if I got tired of playing them, there were certain songs, and I'm not going to say which songs they were, but there were certain songs that I would be like, I'd look at the set list and I'd be like, tonight? No, I want to play this song. No. And, but we have to, you got to do what you got to do. And yeah, and I can actually say it this one because this wasn't his song. Play that funky music. Oh my God. I play in a wedding band and we play that song.
Oh no!
And every
so
time
you were like, I gotta play this again. I gotta play this here with you.
Oh my God! That daggone play that funky music. And it would be, he would use it as his scapegoat song when he didn't feel like, and we didn't sing he didn't do the verses. He would just do so he would, we would be coming out of If I Was Your Girlfriend, hey, ho, hey, we do that, ho, everybody's doing this and all that, and and I'm just like, oh no. I'd be, and I'm just gonna be honest, I'd be cussing because I'd be like, dude, why this song? I hate this song. Oh,
I can't get away from this song.
And then he starts singing, and they were dancing and singing and grooving to the groove, and I'm just like, yeah, they were, yeah, y'all are dancing and singing because I hate this song.
I'm over this song.
And it would always happen. It would always happen. It would always happen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
those are,
Welcome to America
yeah.
tour.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That Welcome to America tour just, I think we pretty much did that song every night, I think. But, so those are the little personal pet peeves that used to get on my nerves. And there
Yeah.
weren't too many of those for me, but that was definitely one of them.
That was one.
That was one
Yeah.
of them. So the 2010 tour was a lot of fun. I remember we were in Brussels and I can see it now. Just so many people. It had to
Mm-hmm.
be, oh my gosh, it had to be 20,000 people. I saw people in the windows looking out their houses
Wow.
and people dancing. They had their arms out the windows, and people that didn't speak English were singing along. And that was when it was the 2010 tour for me, was when I realized who I was actually playing with and who I was playing for. I'm like, this
Mm.
cat. And, too many hits. Too many hits.
Right.
And he was
Right.
right. Too many hits. He just had too many songs. And it's just, I'm like, come on, man. Like,
And was he changing up stuff? I've heard, you would learn something one
mhm.
way, and then right before you go on, okay, we're going to change it up. We're going to do it this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like,
There were always multiple versions of songs. And then he would do, this is what's really funny. And even Morris talked about.
oops, we're out of time. Come back and listen to this funny story on our final episode with Cassandra O'Neal.